When we're looking at a pedigree, it's an excellent visual way to assess the inheritance of a particular type of trait. A few things you need to understand about pedigrees is that when boxes are colored in, such as these are affected individuals, meaning they have the trait of interest. Squares are males, and circles are females. When a male and female reproduce children together, whether it's flies or humans or flowers, that's signified by drawing this line across which connects the male and the female symbol. Children then come off of here and are drawn as a line down, and then each of the children are given. Most of the time, pedigrees are constructed by actually watching and observing the results of crosses and reflecting those in this sort of diagram. Pedigrees can tell us a lot of information about a trait. In particular, it helps us determine what type of inheritance. When trying to do and determine inheritance, there are a few things that you should keep an eye out for. The first thing is, does the trait occur more often in men or women, or does it occur equally? So, which sex has the trait of interest? In this case, I have 2 males with the trait and 2 females with the trait. So it's pretty equally distributed between both males and females. This tells us that this is an autosomal trait. Autosomal traits, meaning not sex-linked, so not determined by gender, meaning they're found on autosomal chromosomes. Recall that in humans, you have 22 pairs of autosomal chromosomes and 1 pair of sex chromosomes. The second thing I need to look at is, when does the trait occur? Does the trait occur in every generation or skip generations? So, does the trait occur every generation or skip generations? Let's look at this trait here. In this trait, we see it here in the first generation, denoted over here. We don't see it at all in the second generation, and it reoccurs here in the third generation. When a trait skips generations, it is recessive. So recessive traits skip generations. Whereas dominant traits are found in every generation. Why is this? Well, the big reason is that in order to be dominant, you only need 1 copy of the allele for the trait. You can be either heterozygous or homozygous dominant, so there are 2 ways for you to display the dominant trait. Whereas if you're recessive, and it's a recessive trait, it requires 2 copies of the recessive trait. So there's only 1 way to display the trait if it's recessive. There are 2 ways to display the trait if it's a dominant trait. So in looking at this, I can clearly come up with the statement that this type of inheritance would be an autosomal because it's found in both males and females, an autosomal recessive trait. Make sure that when you draw your own pedigrees, you include a key for what the dominant and recessive alleles and trait are.